All right, Brennan Taylor here, True School Sports. I'm with the problem himself, and we're not talking about Adrian Roda. We're talking about the problem from across the pond. My main man, Portsmouth's very own, Michael McKinson. Good to see you, man.
It's good to see you. How are you?
I can't complain. It's always good talking to fighters like yourself, real fighters too, right? Because there's a lot of fighters, Mike. We don't really see them often, but you're actually like one of the most active welterweights in the world. I know you got your fight coming up March 19th against Sergio Carvalho. Dos Santos Carvalho is his name, I think, right? 13-1.
Yeah,
It'll be your fourth fight in almost a year span because it's going to be about 366 days. So you just missed the year mark, but you're still one of the more active welterweights. So how are you feeling about that fight going to Italy fighting Dos Santos?
when the opportunity arose to get on the show in Italy, I jumped at it. I had a really busy year last year. I wanted to keep the ball rolling, stay active, stay warm until a big fight comes up. People that know me know the bigger the fight, the happier I am.
Yeah.
I nearly tasted the top last year. So I want to get back to that sort of stage, that sort of level. But I've got to stay in my lane. I've got to, as they say, earn it again. But in the meantime, stay nice and busy. So when the big fights come up, I'm nice and warm and I'm ready.
I like that, man, because a lot of fighters, especially in your weight class, they're not really, there's not a whole lot of movement in the top 10, top 15. So it's good to see fighters like yourself staying active.
That's it. That's it. Like I said, although I tasted defeat last year was the biggest year in my career. So I know I can compete at the top level. So we just keep fighting until these opportunities come.
No, absolutely. Your fight. So the card's in Italy, but I noticed it's not a matchroom show. And then your last card was the last one you fought against Roberto Ariasa was a boxer show. So like,
Yes.
are you still with Eddie Hearn?
No, so when I signed with Eddie and Matchroom back in 21, it was on a free fight deal.
Okay.
I've had the free fights, so now at the moment, we just keep fighting until opportunities come. Like I say, uh, when I signed with Matchroom compared to now, obviously I'm a bigger name. I'm more well known, so the opportunities will come. It's just a waiting game.
Okay. Okay. So right now you're a promotional free agent, right?
That's it.
So
Yeah,
so you can go anywhere. You can fight PBC, Top Rank, wherever.
that's it. Just call me up and I'll be there.
Yeah, call on. They had that song "Call on Tyrone." Call on Michael McKinson.
That's it. That's it.
Okay, okay. Well, I've seen you on Twitter a lot because I follow you. I watch your stuff a lot on Twitter. I know you've been accusing a lot of guys. You didn't say no names, but a lot of guys. You're saying a lot of guys don't want to fight you. A lot of guys are avoiding the problem. Who's out here ducking you, man?
Before I would say my breakout fight over in the UK was against Chris Congo back in March
Yes.
March 2021. Before then, nobody wanted to mention McKinson. I had to wait for my chance. Took it on short notice and beat Congo. It feels like since coming to the States and fighting Ortiz and stuff like that, I've gone back into that kind of who needs them club. Nobody mentions me because they know I'm the biggest threat in the UK. So nobody over here wants to fight me. So I'm just waiting until my name pops up, and I'd love to come back. I'd love to come back to the States. I've had two fights in the States last year. I'm well respected. I feel like they respect me more over there, but who knows? I'd love to come back. There's lots of fights that could happen. Obviously, with me being known a little bit in the States now, why not?
No, why not? And the thing about the American welterweight scene is like, especially like the middle pack of the American welterweights. There's a lot of guys who need fights, like Blair Cobbs, Alexis Rocha. I don't know if like Pete Dobson or Harold Calderon, but like those are guys as well who complain they can't fight anybody. So I think all those be good fights.
Yeah, my name's been linked to fight these guys in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Back in March last year when Ortiz pulled out.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, of course you was. And there were 7 names that I said yes to in the space of the 4 or 5 days that, and
Mm-hmm.
one of the names. So the day Ortiz pulled out, I went to sleep that night agreeing to fight Alexis Rocha that weekend. So I was thought that it was going to be McKinson versus Rocha that weekend. But obviously they didn't want to. In the end, they didn't want to pull the Cobbs and Rocha. It was a good fight, like, on paper, But I've said yes to fight these guys in the past. You know me, the answer is always yes. So why not? Obviously, I've seen Roger's been made mandatory for Crawford. That's great. Alexis Rocha and his coach were the first in my dressing room after I lost to Ortiz. They're great people. And down the line, I'd love to fight against him. Like, I'd love it now. But I just want to say they're great people, and if they can get the fight, fully deserved.
He's the only welterweight that's probably been more active than you. I mean, in the whole division, because I think he's fought like 5 times in 14 months or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think the quality of opposition.
No.
Is he should be fighting better guys, but he's a hell of a fighter. Like, I think there's been nobody as good as Cobbs he's fought since Cobbs.
That's about right, yeah.
Which I'm not sure why, because he's a hell of a fighter. So yeah, like, I think one of the guys he fought, I beat about 3 years ago. I dropped 3 times. Luis Vergil. I fought Luis Vergil when he was 17-0. Dropped him 3 times. And I just thought Alexis Rocha should have been at the fighting higher level guys. But if he gets the fight with Crawford, I'm very happy for him and his team.
No, absolutely. He's a great guy.
Yes.
Luis Vergil.
I'll always remember that. Like, I took my first loss. It was hard to take. Him and his team came into my dressing rooms. I was the first in my dressing rooms, So there's a lot of respect between Team McKinson and Team Rocha. 100%.
Well, hopefully that's a fight that gets made down the line, because like, I kind of have this like love-hate relationship with the welterweight division, because there's not a lot of movement, and so I like the guys that are out there being active, staying sharp, staying match fit, not just waiting for something to fall on the lap. They're trying to make some things happen, and you two are kind of like in that cloth to me.
That's it. I'm here for it all. I'm here for it all. I want these names. The phone is on. The phone is on.
Is the phone on for guys like Conor Benn still? Because I know, like, he's the name over there, but you're saying you're the best UK welterweight. So is the phone on for him if he wants some smoke?
Of course, it's been on for the last 5 years, 6 years that I've been calling his name. They know it. Everyone in the UK knows it. But will I get offered that fight? Probably not.
Yeah.
I'm UK's number 1. And like, at the moment, obviously, with everything he's gone through, regardless if he's innocent or if he's not, there's always going to be tarnished on his name now for a long time. So why not get back into the the Brits in love with him by fighting me? Do you know what I mean? That he should fight me and earn his respect again. But it probably won't happen.
Well, why not? Why won't he fight you? Because they always say, right, the criticisms I hear of you are that McKinson can't punch and this, that, and the third. So right, from a matchmaker standpoint, in some ways, wouldn't you be deemed as like a safe opponent on paper? I mean, not in the ring, but I'm saying on paper because of the knockout percentage.
Possibly, yeah. But styles like that are made for me.
Yeah.
Styles like that are made for me, and they haven't ever shown interest in getting that fight at all with me, ever.
No,
because they know.
Have you guys ever sparred before? Like, do you guys have any history?
No, me and Conor, we've met a couple of times. Every single time we've met, he's been nothing but respectful and nice, as if he doesn't want the animosity. But then on camera, on camera. He badmouths me a lot, you know, and he talks down to me a lot. But at the end of the day, I've taken a tougher fight than he has. My fight against Ortiz and the jump I took for Ortiz trumps all of his opponents, you know. So yeah, hopefully it'll happen one day.
Because to me, that's the fight domestically, you know, in the welterweight division I'd like to see, you know, because I kind of view you and Conor Benn as like opposite ends of the spectrum. Like he's the guy who comes from the big family lineage, you know, and all the marketing dollars are behind him, and then you're kind of the guy who had to do it the old school way, and maybe sometimes you've gotten overlooked, but you've proved yourself time and time again. Would you say
I've had to earn every success I've had in my whole career. I've had to earn the hard way, where people are doubting me when on paper I necessarily shouldn't win. And I've just overcome every hurdle to get to fighting in the States, a headline in a Golden Boy card. I should never have done that, but every bit of success, I just prove people wrong. Whereas there's other people that get put straight on these big cards. That's not me. You know, even my comeback fight just before Christmas in December, I got offered to fight a certain win, a guy with more losses than wins on that card for the same money, right? For the same money, which weren't even enough to even talk about, you know?
Yeah.
And I said, no, let me fight a dangerous opponent that's big knockout. I had two choices, a guy with more losses than wins or Roberto Ariarza.
You picked Roberto Ariarza.
But for the same money as well, which was no good. And I chose to fight Ariarza because I've got respect in myself. I've got so much confidence in my ability and getting back to the top level. So that's why I took such a hard comeback fight over 6 rounds. You know, they don't make them like McKinson anymore. Most people would have taken the easy route. I've never taken the easy route to get to where I am. So why would I start now? You know, they don't make them like me anymore.
It's very few and far between. That's why, like, I didn't really know a lot about you till that Chris Congo fight, and then from the Chris Congo fight, I was locked in. I'm like, I like this guy.
Yeah, of course. I'll always remember when back just a year ago when I was in camp to the first camp for Ortiz, and there were a lot of people stateside that was really writing me off and that didn't do their research. And I remember you put a video out and you had done a bit of research on me. And I'll always remember that. That's why when I see you in LA, I gave you time and I see you straight away, because at the beginning, so many people were not giving me half a chance. You know, but there's a lot of uneducated people that was doing their not doing their research, and you did.
Yeah, no, you have to. I feel like if you're gonna cover the sport of boxing, you gotta be fair with all the fighters, and you gotta, you know, put your best foot forward to learn as much as you can. So I'm always doing that.
That's it. And you know, the best is yet to come from me. I'm only 28. I jumped from fighting the guys like Chris Congos to fighting Ortiz. So
it's a huge jump.
Imagine where I'll be in 18 months' time. I'm always developing. Developing. The amount I learned from the two American fights last year are invaluable for me. You know, I'm going to take that. I'm going to take them experiences and just build off of those experiences and my development for my future. You know, I think I've still got a long way left in my career. And there's going to be plenty more exciting times, I promise.
Oh, I'm excited about it. Yeah, you mentioned how you're developing, right? How would you say you are developing, right? Because the like the criticism is the punching power. Is that something that can be fixed, you feel like, or improved upon, or is that maybe like just how are you developing, Mike, like as a fighter?
The punching power thing is kind of a myth to me. I know on paper the statistics don't lie, and I've stopped 2 people. But if you've noticed, all through my career, I fight better guy after better guy, and I'm stepping up levels. And up to the Ortiz fight, this non-punching ability was never a problem, you know, never a problem. And if you look at the Ortiz fight, it's not as if I couldn't punch hard enough for him to walk through me in 2 rounds like everyone thought. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
I stood with him at times and earned my respect. You know, I did. This punch power thing, like, it doesn't bother me when people overlook me and say, "Oh, he can't punch," blah blah blah. I drop a lot of people in sparring. You know, I'm very physically strong. I'm very
Yeah.
physically strong.
Yeah.
I've dropped a lot of my opponents really, but when I'm winning, like up to Ortiz, most of my wins were quite comfortable. You know, so I haven't needed to go for it. There will be times where I have to go for it. You know, and yeah, I have confidence in my punch power just because nobody else do. I do.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I remember there was a couple of fights. I can't remember the opponents exactly, but I remember a couple of fights where you had like 2 or 3 knockdowns in
Yeah,
the fight.
Luis Veron, you know, the guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Rocha dropped him at all.
Did you drop the dude Ruanowski? Was it?
No, I didn't drop
No.
Runowski. So I dropped 3 guys in the first round in a row. I dropped a guy called Martin Harkin,
I
unbeaten
remember
guy.
that one. Remember that one.
I dropped him 3 times. I think I dropped Luis Veron 2 or 3 times. I don't think Rocha dropped him either. I dropped him 2 or 3 times. And then I dropped Chris Congo in round 1.
Yep.
Ranowski I didn't. Alex Martin I didn't. So my last 3 I haven't scored any knockdowns. But before then, I was on a massive run. You know, so yeah, I dropped somebody that like 2 or 3 times I don't think Alexis Rocha could, and this was when he was young, hungry, unbeaten.
Yeah, pre-Rashidi Ellis, you know.
Exactly. No, this is when the guy that Veron was young, unbeaten.
Oh, okay, okay. I think Rocha.
I took his own. After me, he's lost a few times, so Rocha fought a worse Veron than I did.
Well, you're taking a lot of people's O's. I think like 4 out of your last 10 opponents have been undefeated fighters, and you beaten 3 of them, excluding Vergil.
That's it. I did my stats not that long ago. My last 10 opponents' records are like 100 and combined, 160 wins and 12 losses. Something stupid. I know it's 12 losses. I don't know the amount of wins, but it's something stupid like that. You know, I've got a very good statistics, very good CV that I'm very proud of. You know, so yeah, like there's big opportunities for me. I'm just waiting.
Well, good things come to those who wait.
I want to come back to the States. I had amazing trips last year.
I know. I saw you came to Miami. You came to Miami at one point.
Yeah, I took as you guys call a vacation. After the
you went on holiday.
Yeah, that's it. After the Ortiz fight, I had a few injuries and stuff that I needed to overcome. So I took a month out of boxing. Had a nice vacation. I went to Miami, then Vegas, with a little stop at the Grand Canyon. So had a lovely vacation, and we were back hitting it hard. That's why people weren't expecting me to fight 3 times last year after the Ortiz fight. I got life-changing money for the first 2 fights, right? I got life-changing. I didn't need to fight again before the year was up, rush another fight, cram another fight in before the year's up. But, you know, I didn't want to end my best year in boxing with a loss.
That's right.
So I had to end it with a win. I had to end it with, for me, you know. That's why I could have been sat on a beach somewhere spending that golden boy money.
You could have spent 2 weeks in Miami, you know?
You know, I could have, but I didn't want to. I wanted to get, as they say, get back on the saddle and go for it. And, you know, now we're back being active in the meantime until a big fight comes up.
No, absolutely. I kind of wanted to pick your brain about that Vergil fight, right? Because there's all these things I hear about Vergil. Like they say he, you know, they like people say like he's just a big knockout artist, but you know, I kind of saw some maturity in his style when he fought you. What would you say is his best quality of being in the ring with Vergil?
You know, there's a lot in that fight that, because there was no headshots that really ever fazed me in the fight. I rode him quite well. He had a great jab to the body, and his jab to the head as well. He's got a great jab. I think midway through the fight, he changed it up a little bit. He slowed the pace down. He was picking better shots, which is a very, like you said, mature thing to do. Being a 24-year-old guy with the world at his feet, everyone thought he would walk through me in 3 rounds. And when he couldn't, he changed it up. He changed it up and started picking better shots and things like that, So yeah, like, he's not just this big punching guy that's walking through people. There's a lot more to Vergil Ortiz. A great person, him and his team, great people. I wish him nothing but the best going forward. I hope he wins that world title and multiple world titles.
Yeah.
And I hope he does it in less than 9 rounds.
Yeah, exactly, because that's a reflection on you. Yeah, I know you guys exchanged shirts. I saw the shirt exchange. That was cool.
He's a very respectful young man, and like, even before the fight, I knew how respectful and how humble he was, and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm rooting for him on his way to world title.
Yeah, how do you think he matches up with like a guy like Terence Crawford?
Who knows? Who knows at the moment? Like, Terence Crawford is the elite of the 147s. Like, he is the elite of the 147s. But Ortiz is 24 years old. I think he can 100% be competing with Crawford and them names. Obviously, I don't think he has a problem with Stanionis at all. I don't think he has a problem. I think he does it in less than 9 rounds.
That's right.
Stanionis is a great fighter too. He's a great fighter too, but I think Ortiz will be too much for him.
Yeah. Do you feel like, because Stanionis, he's more of a come forward fighter, like Vergil isn't gonna have to look from the way he did with you, because with you there's more layers to break a guy like yourself down, where Stanionis is more of a rah-rah, like physically strong guy, and gets to get him out of there.
That's it. And I think when you're macho with Ortiz, that's when he's at his best. Kavalauskas, people like that. So yeah, I bought something new for Ortiz. And he solved the problem. The only person to solve the problem. But no, I'm rooting for him against Stanionis. I think he can do it mid rounds, and hopefully he does.
No, absolutely. I saw this clip. I actually saw it on Twitter while I was getting ready for the interview. I saw this clip of that new Undisputed game, and it's a clip of you knocking out Josh Taylor. I know he's got a fight coming up, but he has talked about coming up to 147. Is that a fight you would like in real life, you and Josh Taylor at 147?
I would love it. I was actually asked to go and spar him. It was right at the beginning of my camp for Ortiz, obviously. Josh Taylor being a southpaw, but he was in camp for Jack Catterall.
Yep.
And I sparred 3 separate occasions with Josh, and I learned a lot from my time up there and stuff like that, being able to spar an elite fighter and working with an elite fighter and stuff. And 100%, I would love that. I'd love that. I thought I'd done very well in sparring, but I'd take one fight at a time, and obviously for me it's a learning game. I jumped from Congo to Ortiz, but I know 100% I can compete. I've proved that I can compete at that world level. I've proved that I've got a great chin. I've proved I've got a great heart. I've proved that my skill set can cause anyone problems. So yeah, the bigger the name, the better for me, and the happier I am. That's it.
Okay. I know domestically, right? I know you had
domestically. I stand alone.
Yeah, that's it.
Domestically, none of these guys touch me.
Conor Benn, Ekal Esselman, Harry Scarf, these guys, they're not messing with McKinson.
None of these guys. I've sparred Harry. He's actually, I don't think he gets, because obviously he hasn't done a heck of a load as a pro. I think he's 2-weight English champion and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a genuine good fighter. Echo, obviously, he beat Congo the other day.
Yep.
You could have flipped a coin who won. You could have argued Congo won. I'll beat Congo a lot easier. but Echo's a good fighter, deserves every bit of success he's had domestically. Conor Benn proves in it. He's a good fighter, of course he is. But I stand alone domestically. None of these guys touch me, you know. But, you know, whilst they're all talking about fighting each other, getting this fight, the only one out of all of them that's actually called me out was Harry Scuff, like last year. But I was in the build-up to Ortiz.
Yeah.
But, like, with a lot of respect to these guys, okay, Esserman, yeah, he's beat Congo. I'd fight him if it was offered, but into Echo Asuman or Conor Benn or nobody domestically, what's the point? It's not worth it for me, is it?
Yeah, yeah.
It's not. I'm looking at the world.
So is there anybody like in the States apart from Rocha that you'd want, like, let's say
I want Blair.
Blair.
Woo!
Woo!
Blair, like, obviously we've been linked a couple of times in the past. He's called me out before. He's fought on the same card as me twice. I'd love to fight Blair Cobbs. But any of them. Alexis Rocha, obviously. Blair Cobbs would Salah fight. I think out of the two, the Blair Cobbs fight would be the easier fight.
Yeah, yeah.
Obviously, because Rocha beat him and stuff like that. But it would be the more appealing fight because of the character
Yeah,
he
yeah.
is. You know, but I'm here for them all. Just if any of these get offered, the answer is always yes.
You're a yes man.
I'm a yes man.
All right. Well, Mike, I don't want to hold you up too much.
I came to Texas to fight Vergil Ortiz. You know, I entered the ring to a cauldron of booze and hate.
That's right.
I couldn't hear my music. It was boo, boo, boo. I left the ring with cheers, people giving me respect. I left Texas a respected fighter in this 147 division, you know. So yeah, I'd love to come back. I'll come to whoever's backyard. Let's get it on.
Yeah, McKinson wants all the smoke.
That's it. I'm a serious guy.
Would you I know like a lot of times the British fighters, when they get to a certain part of their career, they sometimes come out to the States for camp. Would you ever come out to the States for a camp?
Yeah, I've actually spent a camp stateside back in 2019.
Oh, did you? Where were you?
I was over in Philly.
Ah.
I was in Philly for 2 weeks. It's the only time I've kind of had a little bit of a camp over in the States and sparred in the States. The only time I've ever sparred in the States. But my dad, my coach, he's already expressed that he wants me over in the States, doing bits of camps and stuff like that. So who knows what the future holds? Like, you know,
were you in Philly sparring Jerron Ennis?
No, I wasn't. I came to Philly, I think it was like a week after one of his fights. So this was in the build up to when I fought Veron, the Argentinian guy.
Okay.
I was sparring, like, you know, Nahir Albright.
Of course.
Lightweight, yeah, very good fighter.
Yeah, he fought Jermaine Ortiz.
I'll tell you another fighter that Olberton, the light heavy.
Atif Olberton, yeah.
I sparred him.
You sparred Atif?
I went to
what?
Do you know what? I didn't have my coach or anything with me, and I was going to these gyms, and even the coaches, they just didn't look. They just wanted me, like, they wanted to give it to me hard, and I had two choices: spar whoever they said to spar. I remember I went to the I think James Schuler gym.
James Schuler, yep.
Yeah, in Philly, and he looked at me and went, "You're not." The coach there looked at me and said, "You're not sparring the 147s. You either spar this light heavyweight who's on the US team, or don't spar at all." And I remember thinking, "What's going on here?" I remember calling back home, like, "See what they're trying to do to me." And I thought, you know what? I'm gonna go in there. I'm gonna earn everyone's respect, and everyone was crowded round the ring. And yeah, I sparred Olberton. Great guy, Olberton. But look, every time I sparred in the States when I was over there, it was tough. It was tough because I was there on my own. I was the little English guy that was over on his own. For me, people know my mental strength is my biggest strength. And a lot of development came from my time in Philly. You know, it did.
How many rounds did you guys spar?
I can't remember. I think it was only a handful. I think maybe 4 or 6. He was obviously still an amateur at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can see the size difference.
Yeah, no, he's a huge guy. Like that to me, that's way crazier than fighting Vergil Ortiz in Texas, sparring Atif Olberton in Philly.
They wanted me hurt. They wanted me hurt. But you know, I earn respect the hardest way possible every time. I sparred him, and everyone was like, "Oh," afterwards, you know. So I earned their respect that day.
Okay, that's insane. Well, that's the perfect way to end it, Mike. But any final message you want to give the boxing world about what you got going on March 19th?
Of course, I'm out in Rome against a big punching unknown Brazilian. Don't know a lot about him, but you know, we're staying nice and healthy, staying nice and warm. Any 147s out there, you know, that want it, I want it all. So yeah, I'm calling out every 147 out there that wants a fight. Let's do it.
Yeah, that's free smoke McKinson for you guys.
Just give me notice. And I'll be there.
All right, Michael McKinson, pleasure. Thank you for talking to me.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Yep.